Hello everyone, MP Hater here, and welcome back to my newcomer's guide for Elden Ring. This is part 2. So in the last episode we completed the tutorial area. We made it to the Gatefront Ruins. We got our first Ash of War there. We also accessed a grace that got us access to Torrent, as well as the ability to level up. We cleaned out this area to get a couple of items as well. And in the next several episodes, we're going to be kind of exploring the Limgrave area. So there's basically the West Limgrave, which is the area kind of that we have open right now. And then as we head east, eventually we're going to run into East Limgrave. And then further south, once we access this area, we'll have access to a place called the Weeping Peninsula. And that's going to represent kind of the early game area that we want to focus on right now before we start heading towards Stormvale Castle. So we're going to go through here, kind of get some common starting gear that's going to make life a little easier for us. We're also going to mark points of interest on the map, access a bunch more of these sites of grace, and gain access to many of the dungeons that we're going to be tackling once we do get all of the starting gear that we want to have. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and head east. And as you do, you're going to see a telescope, and right around the time you pass the telescope, you're going to be called out to.
Oi! You there. Could you help us out, Cully?
Oh, neither of them dropped them.
You?
Anyway,
Yeah, you there.
go ahead and bash this, and this is Bach. He's an NPC.
You were just... Thank you. I was pushed and I ended...
So go ahead and talk to him until he repeats himself.
I hope.
And that will progress his story. We're going to be meeting him again here in a few minutes, once we go to the shore, actually. And then from here, we're going to be heading north. And we're going to go get the first Armorer's Cookbook now. Now, the enemies that are over here are a little harder to deal with, so we're basically just going to be running past the enemies at this point to grab the item. So just kind of drop into this camp, grab the item, and keep heading north towards the White Dog, or White Wolf, sorry. So we're going to grab the golden rune in front of it, and then we're going to make a left, and we're going to climb up here and make a right. You're going to see in the distance a spirit spring. So the way that the spirit springs work is you can basically use them to jump as long as you're on torrent, and you are immune to gravity whenever you're jumping with these. So very useful. In addition, if you are jumping down off of a ledge, such as this ledge, normally this ledge would probably kill you, if not do a lot of damage. If we jump into one of these, you'll notice the tuft of air that comes up underneath us. That indicates that we are protected and we're not going to die whenever we land. So if you land in the vicinity of these, that will save you from a fall. Otherwise, we're going to come over here. There's a giant up there, by the way, but we're going to grab the smithing stone that's up here. Now, if you can teleport, we want to head back to the Church of Ella. Looks like I just lost the ability to teleport. Hang out right here for a minute, see if we're... Yeah, I think it's too close. That's fine. We'll go ahead and head south and head back to the Gatefront Ruins. And then we're going to head back over to the Church of Ella.
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word? A pleasure to me.
So this is Renna.
And upon the talk, thou art to call forth.
Talk to her. She's going to ask you if you can call forth the Spectral Speed Torrent. Say that you can.
I was entrusted by torrents.
And she's going to give you the Spirit Calling Bell.
'Tis a bell. Summon them. The spirit now. It is that.
So talk to her again, and she's going to vanish.
Before the time.
We will be meeting her again several times later. For now, though, if we head over to our inventory and look at our ashes, Ashes of War basically, summoning ashes allow us to summon, in this case, 3 lone wolf spirits. And we're going to get many more ashes that we can actually summon with. And we can also level these up as well to make them stronger. So in time, we'll get the ability to do that. But for now, this one's going to be the one that we have. And like normal, we can attach it to one of our pouch items. Or if you prefer, you can also put it on your hotbar. Again, you got 10 items on your hotbar, and you can cycle between them using the down arrow on your D-pad. Otherwise, though, I'm going to go talk to Kale again.
Wait, well, you're...
And I'm actually going to want to purchase the Nomad Warrior's Cookbook, because I want to be able to start making arrows, because we're about to buy a bow and arrow from another vendor. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize one of the golden runes, because I need 500 in total.
What is it?
So you can again cycle with X to see exactly what they provide you. Eventually, though, we're going to buy all of the items in question.
Goodbye.
For now, though, let's go ahead and equip Torrent, and we're going to head east. Now, I'm heading east because as we head east, you're going to notice this symbol on the left. The symbol on the left indicates that we can summon. So if you needed help, we could summon. Otherwise, come over here, grab a golden rune. And let your helpers do some work. Otherwise, that is the idea behind Spirit Ashes. So we're going to head back to the church. I'm going to rest to regain all of my focus points. And now we're going to head north, west of here. And we're going to unlock one of the catacombs that we're going to be accessing later, which has a boss in it. So just pass all these enemies up, kill them if you want to. Not a big deal. And over here, we're going to open this up. Now, at your current level, you absolutely could complete this area, but we're not going to come back for a lot of these areas until we collect some more gear. But I'm going to put that on my map as a marker. Worth mentioning, by the way, until you complete the area in question and kill the boss, you're not going to be able to teleport away from these places, so you will have to leave it the old-fashioned way. Otherwise, we're going to head to the right and over to kind of this ledge here. We're going to follow this down to the shore down there, to the beach. So you'll see there's a giant over there. We're going to be passing them up as well. So you absolutely could kill him if you wanted to. We're not going to worry about it right now. So you'll see this thing that's kind of encircling this area. This is actually a teardrop scarab, and if we kill it, we're going to get another Ash of War. So easiest way, hold R2, hold out your weapon as it approaches, and you'll kill it. So you'll see fire north of here. You don't actually have to go this way, but this is one of these kind of barbarian enemies, and he happens to be preoccupied. So very easy to kill him right now. And you could net his weapon. He actually has a weapon that can knock people off horses easy. You might also get his gear as well. Otherwise, though, we'll grab whatever he drops. And we're going to go along the beach. So you'll notice this enemy in front of us. They're pretty dangerous. However, if you know the trick, they're actually pretty easy. So smack them in the head. Using R2. And then you can press R1 in order to do a critical. These smaller ones, by the way, do have the chance to drop a helm. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. Again, it's best if you don't let them start jumping in the air, because they can be pretty dangerous if you let them start jumping in the air. But otherwise, give them a few head bonks and they'll be fine. So, more upgrade materials. You'll notice this thing around us, by the way. I don't remember if I called it out in the last episode, but whenever the Erd tree's leaves fall like this, you'll get an increase in rune drops. Enemies like these, by the way, with red eyes, they are hyper-aggressive, so take that into consideration. Otherwise, we're going to duck into here. This is another area that leads to a boss. However, we're not going to fight it yet. Bach is in here, though, so you can talk to him, progress his story. We'll go ahead and grab another Site of Grace. We'll be coming back here later. This particular dungeon, by the way, actually leads you to the Dragon Communion, which is across the lake over there, or river, ocean. Anyway, you'll end up over there. Otherwise, we're heading over here to a vendor.
What do you don't want any trouble?
So go ahead and talk to him. I want a short bow. I also wouldn't mind grabbing some more smithing stones for upgrades later. We will at some point want the Armorer's Cookbook. If you want to grab the club, which is what I currently have, or if you want to grab the broadsword, which is the weapon that the Confessor uses, you can also grab that too.
All done?
Otherwise, that's pretty much all we want at the moment. We'll come back to him later. One nice thing, by the way, is that in patches that they had installed in this game, I don't know, maybe 3 months after the game's release, you now have markings on your map for NPCs, so you'll be able to see the NPCs on the map. Otherwise, you can also mark them yourself if you want to. Otherwise, though, we're going to go ahead and continue to head east. These, by the way, if you run over them, they'll usually have a golden rune in them. So if they're just, you know, off the beaten path a little bit, go ahead and run through them. These things, by the way, are not generally worth your time. Just ignore them. Over here we have undead, as well as a gold pickle foulfoot. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So if you knock these guys down, you'll notice that they change color while they're on the ground. If you do not kill them, then what will happen is they will respawn. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and use the Spirit Spring. Jump up here. We're going to jump up here. Let's talk about the item that we just picked up. So we get the ability, if we use this item, to boost our rune acquisition for a time. So if you're trying to farm runes, this is a really good option for that. We're actually, by the way, right back where we started. And before we move on, there's actually an item I'm going to have us pick up right there. We're going to want to kind of finagle our way off the edge here without actually dying. And these are the other type of pickled foulfoots. So the idea behind these ones is they're going to increase your item discovery temporarily. So let's talk about item discovery real quick. So discovery is basically the stat that determines how often you get rare drops. In the last episode, I talked about how this game has very rare drops for most of the gear in the game, but you can boost that if you would like. And there are a couple of different ways that you can boost it. There is equipment that you can equip that will boost it. There's also the discovery that you can boost here, and you can do that by using the silver foots that we just picked up. In addition, if you level up Arcane, that will also affect your discovery as well. And again, that'll help to increase the likelihood that you're going to get rare drops in the game. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move on. So we're going to head towards the water. Another smithing stone right there, though. Otherwise, head towards the water. And kind of keep this cliff off to the left side of you. You want to avoid getting too near this fire. We'll talk about why here in a minute. Inside that little crevice right there, by the way, is a giant crab. Generally, I would avoid them for now. And this is going to give us access to the Limgrave tunnels. This area is pretty high level. This is one of the later things that we're going to do before we kind of move on from Limgrave. You also might have noticed that there was a path up there. There's actually several paths that you can go around in this place to find secrets and items and even a boss. Otherwise, though, grab the grace and then we're going to head back up. So I don't want you to get too close to it, because otherwise you could die. Oops. But head towards the fire, kind of stay on its outskirts. And you'll notice the dragon. That's a boss. So for now, head towards the dragon burnt ruins in front of us. I'm going to mark this on the map for later, because we are going to come back to kill that dragon later. For now, we're going to go into the ruins. We've got a few items we're going to pick up here. By the way, whenever an enemy has yellow eyes like this, they have a higher chance to drop runes. So that'll randomly happen on enemies. Otherwise, these enemies should be pretty easy to kill at your level right now. So we'll go ahead and head down here. Now, you don't have to head in here if you don't want to, but I do want to show you something while we're here. So kill the rats if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and kill them. And numbers, rats gonna be no joke. So be wary of trap. So this is actually a teleporter. This will teleport you to a very dangerous place this early in the game called Caelid. But it is something to be aware of. If you open this up and you stay in the fog, it will teleport you. So for the sake of the map, I'm going to go ahead and add a map marker for this, because we eventually will be wanting to go over to Caelid. I don't recommend doing it right now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to head into this little building next to the path down. And there usually is a rat here, but he came and attacked us. Otherwise, here's the stone stored key. And then next what we want to do is we want to get on to Torrent. And if you look around, you'll notice that there is actually a lot to this kind of little section here. And you're looking for a section that is completely enclosed, because you're going to jump it. So here is a section of this place that's completely enclosed. And you'll notice there's another path down. And inside here is a weapon. This is the Twin Blade. Another pretty decent starting weapon. So this one is going to require more dex. Currently, it scales on both strength and dex. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to head over here. I'm going to put a map marker over there. Try to avoid these guys, by the way. The barbarians are not an easy fight. Not a hard fight, but not an easy fight. And you're going to notice one of those teardrop scarabs. A couple different ways to deal with this. Kill it yourself. You can let the enemies that are out here kill it. Otherwise, though, we're going to head south. Try to get away from them. You should run into one of these. I'm going to try it one more time, see if we can get this... There we go. We got Ash of War Unsheath. Okay, so what we're going to be heading towards now is we're going to be heading up this path and kind of grabbing some things along the side as we go north here. So there's going to be an enemy, some enemies off to the side here. Just kind of stay off to the left, and we'll be able to easily avoid them. So eventually you're going to see some ruins. And we're going to want to head up to those ruins. And inside here is a path down. So, this actually leads to our first boss. So, what's going to happen in this boss fight? This is a Mad Pumpkinhead, and you want to avoid hitting him in the head because he is got a very hard head. We want to try to get behind him if we can. You can also use your ashes once we step into here. So, I'm going to spend a minute or two letting you kind of see his attacks, however, before I summon them, just so you can see what he has to offer. I might die because, again, I'm going to try to show you his attacks, but we'll see what happens. So you cannot parry this enemy with the exception of the punches. So don't bother trying that, but you can very easily dodge through his attacks. If you have better timing than I do, anyway. I was trying to get him to slam his head on the ground. So he has a face slam that he'll use that does a lot of damage as well. But it's also worth mentioning that this enemy is actually strong against strike damage, so the weapon I'm wielding is probably not the best choice. He is, however, weak to slash-based attacks, and if you can equip lightning, bleed, or frost on your weapon, that's also highly effective against this boss too. So this is really effective, by the way, with him. What we can do is we can get behind him, do a heavy attack. There's his slam, by the way. So that allows us to do a crit, which does a huge amount of damage to him. And again, we want to try to do most of our attacks behind him if we can. And once you beat it, we now have a new site of grace. So we're going to head into this path. And this is Selin.
I am sorry you here.
Jelly, you want to learn sorcery.
But one must choose. I was as a revive. You still very well, but I refuse to anticipate.
So she is one of several sorcery instructors. So she will teach you some of the very early sorceries. Glintstone Pebble is very valuable early on. So is the Arc pretty early on. Those are actually what you start with if you play as the Astrologer. So in general, I would simply buy all of the sorceries in the game. That way you can tinker and figure out what works best for you. Though, obviously, if you're going for PvP, there are going to be equipment items that work best for that. So since Selin is a sorcery instructor, she can also be brought scrolls, and she will be able to teach you additional types of magic with those. However, I would actually take those to Muriel, who we'll meet in Liurnia a little bit later, because he doesn't move throughout the story, whereas Selin, however, will. Otherwise, though, you can talk to her. As you start buying more stuff from her, by the way, it will unlock more dialogue options with her. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it for this episode. So we have completed our first boss. And in the next episode, we're going to continue collecting a few things. We're going to end up making it over to the Third Church of America is basically our goal in the next episode. But until then, thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.